What's up, guys? You are watching the channel Aviation Obsession. Many incredible aircraft have been built throughout the aviation history, and occasionally some designs, in terms of their technological and unusual appearance, amaze us. Some of them had various uses and were widely utilized before, but these planes are not commonly seen anymore today. They are considered obsolete and have been replaced by newer models. So, today we are looking at the top 10 most rare aircraft in the world. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for future uploads. Without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Bleriot XI. The Bleriot XI is a French aircraft from the early days of aviation. It was the first plane to fly across the English Channel on 25 July 1909. This is one of the most well-known achievements of the early days of aviation, and it not only secured Bleriot's place in history but also the success of his company that made aircraft. It was manufactured in single and two-seat versions, with a variety of engines, and it was frequently used for competition and training. Many nations purchased the military versions, which remained in use until the start of World War I in 1914. Two restored original Bleriot XI aircraft, one in the United Kingdom and one in the United States, are thought to be the two oldest flyable aircraft in existence. Number 9. Howard 500. The Howard 500 is an American pressurized executive transport aircraft produced by Howard Aero Incorporated during the early 1960s. It was created by two well-known aircraft designers, D. Howard and Ed Swearingen. It bears a strong resemblance to the Lodestar and Ventura. In contrast to other aircraft of the time, it had a brand new design and an entirely new fuselage that was designed from the ground up for pressurization. While the wings were being designed wet, Howard purchased wing and fuselage jigs from Lockheed to use as patterns for jigs for the new aircraft. It was a luxurious aircraft with a spacious cabin, room for lots of baggage, a big door that is close to the ground for easy entry, and an onboard bathroom. Its cockpit was compact. The pilot and co-pilot could both sit side by side. The controls were basic and simple to operate. There were only 22 aircraft made. Number 8. De Havilland DH-9080 Mosquito. The de Havilland Mosquito has the multiple distinctions that make it a significant historical aircraft. The Mosquito was not a rare aircraft in its day. Nearly 8,000 were built. It was put into use in 1942, a crucial period for the British in World War II. It initially saw itself as primarily a photographic reconnaissance craft. It was used as a sub-hunter, a high-altitude light bomber, and possibly most famously, a night fighter as the war went on. Being made of wood, it is also called Wooden Wonder. The previous last flying Mosquito was destroyed in 1996, when engine trouble led to a low-altitude loss of control during a demonstration flight in England. Around the world, there are thought to be 30 Mosquitoes that are airworthy. For more than 16 years, there were no flying Mosquitoes until this airplane, KA-114, made its return to the air. De Havilland granted production licenses to numerous businesses in Britain and other countries after it was initially manufactured in Canada. The project was completed in Auckland, New Zealand, over the course of 8 years. The 487th Squadron of the Royal New Zealand Air Force, which flew Mosquitoes during the war, is represented by the paint scheme on the aircraft. Number 7. McDonnell XF-85 Goblin. The Goblin is an American prototype fighter plane built by McDonnell Aircraft during World War II. It was manufactured to function as a parasite fighter from the enormous Convair B-36 bombers bomb bay. It was designed to shield bombers from enemy interceptor aircraft, which was necessary as proven during World War II. After McDonnell had produced two prototypes, the U.S. Army Air Force put an end to the project. It was a little jet aircraft with a forward tail stabilizer and an unusual egg-shaped fuselage. Prototypes were made and put through extensive testing and evaluation in 1948. In-flight testing showed the concept to be promising, but the aircraft's performance lagged behind that of the jet fighters it would have encountered in combat. The prototypes of the aircraft were only kept in museum collections after it was swiftly put on hold. Number 6. Vought V-173. The Vought V-173 Flying Pancake was an experimental test aircraft built as a part of the Vought XF-5U Flying Flapjack program. During World War II, the V-173 and XF-5U both had unusual all-wing designs with flat, disc-shaped hulls that acted as the lifting surface. Thus, the names. Two piston engines buried in the fuselage propelled the propellers on the leading edge at the wingtips. With Vought Chief Test Pilot Boone guiding at the controls, it took to the air for the first time on 23 November 1942 On 31 March 1947, the aircraft made its final flight. In 131.8 hours of flight experience spread across 190 flights, Zimmermann's theory of a fighter capable of nearly vertical takeoff and landing has been proven true. Number 5. Douglas X-3 Stiletto. The Douglas X-3 was an experimental jet aircraft with a long, tapered nose that was manufactured by the Douglas Aircraft Company in the 1950s. Its principal objective was to examine the design features of an aircraft that could fly at sustained supersonic speeds, including the first application of titanium to crucial airframe components. Although the Douglas X-3 Stiletto was the most streamlined of the early, experimental aircraft, its scientific results fell short of expectations. It was designed to be able to travel at a high speed of more than 1,700 knots, but it was dreadfully underpowered and could not even approach 600 knots in level flight. The Lockheed F-104 Starfighter, a successful 1,300 knots fighter with a trapezoidal wing shape, was created using data from the X-3 test despite the research aircraft's failure. Number 4. Bartini Beriev VVA-14. The Soviet Union developed the wing and ground effect aircraft known as the Bartini Beriev VVA-14 in the early 1970s. It was made to be able to lift off from the water, travel huge distances at fast speeds, fly at true altitudes, and still glide efficiently just over the water's surface using the aerodynamic ground effect. It was developed by an Italian-born designer Robert Bartini in an effort to take down U.S. Navy Polaris missile submarines. In 1987, the final aircraft was decommissioned. Number 3. Avro Canada VZ-9 Avrocar. In the early years of the Cold War, Avro Canada developed the VTOL Avrocar VZ-9 as part of a top-secret U.S. military project. The Conda effect would be utilized by the Avrocar to produce lift and thrust from a single turborotor that spewed exhaust out of the disc rim. In the air, it would have appeared to be a flying saucer. The project, which was once planned to be a fighter-like aircraft with exceptionally high speeds and altitudes, was continuously scaled back before being abandoned by the U.S. Air Force. The U.S. Army then started working on the construction of a high-performance helicopter that would serve as a tactical combat aircraft. The Avrocar project was abandoned in September 1961 because it was discovered that it had unresolved propulsion and stability issues during flight testing, confining it to a low-performance, deteriorated flying envelope. Number 2. SNECMA Coléoptère. The SNECMA C-450 Coléoptère was a VTOL aircraft designed by SNECMA and built by Nord Aviation. The project never progressed past the test flight stage while the plane was being built. It was one of many attempts undertaken around the world in the 1950s to create a practical VTOL aircraft. The design was influenced by SNECMA's earlier tests with the Havilland, a wingless test platform. It was a single-pilot aircraft with a novel circular wing that enabled vertical takeoff and landing with extremely minimum runway and space requirement. The lone prototype was destroyed on its 9th flight on 25 July 1959 after making its first flight in December 1958. A second prototype was initially intended, but money was never obtained. Number 1. NASA AD-1. Between 1979 and 1982, at NASA Dryden Flight Research Center, Edwards, California, the NASA AD-1 aircraft and related flight test programs successfully demonstrated an aircraft wing that could spin obliquely from 0 to 60 degrees while in flight. The distinctive oblique wing was demonstrated using the AD-1, a small subsonic jet-powered research aircraft. The aircraft was flown 79 times during the study phase to evaluate the basic pivot wing concept and gather information on handling characteristics and aerodynamics at various speeds and degrees of pivot. In late 1979, the AD-1 made its airborne debut. The wing was gradually rotated over the course of the following 18 months, reaching a complete 60-degree inclination in mid-1981. The aircraft was operated for a further year, gathering data at various speeds and wing pivot angles, until it was ultimately retired in August 1982. In order to showcase its unique design, the aircraft flew 8 times during the Experimental Aircraft Association annual exposition in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, before its final flight. These are the top 10 most rare aircraft in the world. Which of these aircraft you like the most? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video with your friends.